needed to shift away from talking about ballot access and ballot access only. We needed to, as a party, focus on issues-based advocacy, where we can show the public that we're advocating for libertarian policy and actually getting things done. So the 5 issues that we have landed on this year, obviously ballot access is the first one. We don't have a piece of legislation that is going to be introduced this cycle, but our activists are going to be spending the first or the next 6 months in the legislature with what we're calling a docket of ballot access options. And we're going to be discussing that with legislators to try to see what ballot access pathway is the most palatable. So that's the first item. The second item that we're going to be advocating for is what's called a fully informed jury bill. Basically, Martin Daniel brought this last year. It basically gives a judge the ability or the requirement to notify juries that they have the right to nullify the law. Right now, the jury, you can nullify the law, but not many people know about this. If you come in educated as a juror, you'll almost be guaranteed to be removed from a jury. So what we want to do is basically make it clearer. We want to make it easier for jurors to know you can nullify the law. So we're going to have that bill reintroduced. From what I understand, Martin Daniel's legislation is coming back. We're going to be talking about that again. The second item is civil asset forfeiture. I'm sure many of you guys know civil asset forfeiture is legalized theft. It basically gives police the ability to seize your assets without a trial. It's un-American, in my opinion. We've already started on advocacy work to talk about civil asset forfeiture and the evils, really, that are perpetrated with Tennessee State Police against Tennessee citizens using this. So Erik, Wiatr, I saw walked in the room. I don't know if he's still here. I'm sure he'll be back in. He's got a piece of legislation that's going to close the federal equitable sharing loophole, which basically allows Tennessee State Police to skirt Tennessee law and run the money through the feds. So we're trying to close that loophole. That'll be another piece we'll be very tight in on. The third item that we're going to be doing a lot of advocacy work for is marijuana decriminalization. Many of you guys, we all agree on this. I think the first step in Tennessee, we got to walk before we can run. We're not going to go full crazy on legalization. We are going to support that. We're going to talk about that. But when it comes to the legislation, we're going to get people on the ground doing. It's going to be all around decrim. Gloria Johnson is planning, from what I understand, and I'm sure Yvonne has a lot to say about this after, to bring her decrim bill again. We're going to get behind that 100%. We're going to be trying to push that through the legislature as well. The last item is ranked choice voting. Are you all familiar with ranked choice voting? I know Amanda is. You are? Everybody is? Okay. So, extremely important. I mean, the only state right now I think that's passed a statewide ranked choice voting initiative is Maine. I don't think that in the state of Tennessee we are going to get a bill passed that creates a statewide ranked choice voting system. That seems extremely unlikely to me within the next 2 years. But there's an organization called Tennesseans for Ranked Choice. They're bringing a piece of legislation that will basically clarify state law and allow local municipalities to pass ranked choice voting initiatives without coming in conflict. And Amanda, I'm sure you can talk about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Memphis passed ranked choice voting initiative, and then they immediately got into a multi-year fight with the state of Tennessee, internal fights with their own council, basically fighting whether it was legal or not to begin with. So what we're trying to do is get behind a piece of legislation that says, it's legal, if you want to pass it, you can pass it, and we're not going to get in your way. And I think that's a conservative value, it's a libertarian value. That piece of legislation would be up for debate as well. Those are the 5, yes?
Also, with that, I think it would be a good idea for us. I mean, even though Memphis City Council, has turned theirs over, I think it would be good for us to go. We've got a new city council. And I think it'd be a good idea for us to hit our city council up on this.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a great idea. And me and
Amanda will go.
Yeah, there are people in Nashville working on ranked choice voting in Nashville too. And I think that getting it passed in a kind of I like to say these urban pockets, very liberal, it's possible to get done.
So, to my knowledge, for ranked choice Tennessee, the priority is to focus on Chattanooga and Knoxville since they're considered home rule cities.
Got it.
And enough for Knoxville, the thought is we could start a petition to create a charter commission, then create a charter commission, and then that charter commission examines whether or not we should do it. And then when they've examined it, then we vote, and people vote on that. And so if we are able to institute in Knox County, that could be like 2022.
Would that be kind of of a referendum item, is what I'm
I
hearing?
am
Or is
not
that
really
something
sure.
the city council would, you don't know
I'm not
yet?
sure,
Okay.
but he's got Aaron Fowles has a whole plan written out.
Okay, beautiful. Well, and to add to this, if you're coming to our state convention, we're going to have speakers there talking about every single one of these issues. I don't think Aaron will be there, Amanda. I think Eugene will be there representing Ranked Choice, but he will be there. I know Erik Wiatr, I try to get him to come. I know he's got a couple people he's fielding out. We've got people for every other one of those issues, so definitely show up. We'll have a really great rally around those priorities. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the convention is January 11th, starting at 9 a.m. at Wilson County Expo Center in Lebanon, Tennessee. It's about 2 hours away from you guys. You're lucky because Memphis, I think it's like 3.5 hours. So it's on the east side of the state. I don't think there are necessarily any registration deadlines. If you go online to our website, you should see a link to register with Eventbrite. You can go to our Facebook page, there's a link to register with
And we have a
Eventbrite.
commitment from our chair that no real business will happen before 10:30, right?
That is correct, by design. We actually bumped it back to starting at 8 to starting at 9 for that very reason, so we'll have more time. I think the one thing that's going to be different this year than previous years is that usually in off-year conventions, which is technically this is one of our off years, we don't usually have bylaw debate. But we passed a bylaw amendment last year that allows us to have the bylaw debate every single year. So this year we won't be debating bylaw amendments. The one that I wanted to talk to you all about briefly and get your feedback on individually after this talk is I'm going to be bringing one that creates what's called a dues-paying member status for the LPTN. And what this basically does is it's modeled off of what Kentucky does. I think over half the states, Libertarian Party in the entire country have this process. Right now, if you want to vote at a convention, you can pay national, you can pay a state, you can pay a county, but when you show up to get credentialed, all you have to do is get your county chair, your regional to say you're credentialed. So really what we want to do is we want to create a process that creates a dues-paying member status. I know you hate this idea, but it's okay. We'll fight about it later. It creates a dues-paying member status. It says if you pay $30 a year, you're considered a dues-paying member and you're allowed to vote. It's going to help us fundraise. It will help us tie membership numbers to budget numbers. I think it will be very positive going forward. So definitely something to consider. Other than that, if you guys have any thoughts on that amendment, I'm happy to give you some. Happy to talk to you guys after the meeting. That's all I've got, Mr. Howell. So I will hand it off to the next speaker. Thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you, John.
All right. Next up, I think we're going to go ahead and have Erik Wiatr come and speak. Yeah, it's your turn. Will your speaking about civil asset forfeiture? Erik, civil asset forfeiture?
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean,
Here, I'm going to be talking about this. How's everybody doing tonight?
Excellent.
Food looks great. How's it going? How's it going?
There we go.
All right, so what I handed out there is just a little flyer here. We have a civil asset forfeiture dinner fundraiser with Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs as our keynote speaker. This is a group of us have been working on this issue for over 4 years now. And what we're trying to do is take it to the next level. So we've been going to Nashville, we've been talking with legislators, we've been working on legislation the last 4 years. And so now we're trying to take this from an amateurish level to a semi-amateur professional level. And this is one of the ways we're going to do it with this fundraiser here. We also got a political PAC filed. And we got Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs as the speaker. Some things about the event: it does include all-you-can-eat food, dessert. For VIP members, you get a Glenn Jacobs signed Constitution, and then there's also sponsorship opportunities. Maybe if the Libertarian Party is interested in that. So we'll see. But just a couple things, what we're doing with this money and what we have done is we are targeting key legislators who have been blocking reform, key legislators who sit on subcommittees that we have to go through before anything will happen with civil asset forfeiture in our state. Some other things that we're doing, the last 4 years I've been going with people to Nashville to lobby on this issue. These are people who are taking off of work. These are people who are making their own personal sacrifices to go to Nashville and help out, right? And maybe that's not something everybody can do in this room, right? Maybe you cannot go to Nashville for an entire day and lobby legislators. But something that maybe you can do is spend a night with people who support ending civil asset forfeiture, requiring a criminal conviction before property can be taken. And maybe you can do something with that and go to this event and donate to support those people who are going to Nashville. Things like just helping pay for the gas, providing a meal for the people who actually go there and lobby. So those are some of the things. We also been doing some social media too to target those key legislators. Does anybody have any questions about the event? Sure.
Well, not the event.
Oh, what's that? Okay, in general, you have a question?
What's the first committee it goes to?
So the two committees that we are likely going to go to are in the Judiciary Committee, they're the subcommittees, Constitutional Protections and Civil Justice.
Okay.
So, and part of it is just, when we go to Nashville, we have a well-entrenched opposition from state government workers on this issue. And so we need to counteract that influence. And part of the game is, giving donations to legislators so they will, listen to you on this issue. So that's part of the reason behind the PAC, too. And unfortunately, this past year, we had 40 out of the 99 state legislators support our bill. But regardless, if we get 90 of them to support us, we can get 4 members on these subcommittees to block any reform. And so we have to start targeting our resources on these key members. So that's part of it. Any other questions?
Can you make and put it on the Libertarian, either this page or the state page, and who has our opposition been?
Sure. So.
And, because that way, well, we know that.
Or what other people would say, law enforcement. So to answer the first part of your question, that's, I think, probably a Josh or somebody else's question. Josh has been doing a great job promoting this issue. He is literally, him and others in the LP party, I think, have literally gathered hundreds of petition signatures for us on this issue, which is growing our list exponentially, which is great. As far as promoting the event, Josh, I think that's the answer to that. But, just to answer the second part of your question, so who's opposing us? So typically when we go up there, it's Representatives Carter, Curcio, Garrett, and Beck, I would say, if I were to really name legislators who are...
What about Senate?
Senate, right now we've been mainly just focused on the House.
Okay.
It's always been the House doing the heavy lifting
To
on
get it
this.
through them first.
Yes, correct. You're right.
So one of the things I love about ending civil asset forfeiture is that it works on people on both sides like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Glenn Jacobs is more used to working in the Republican Party. Do you guys have any people that are more from the left that might be part of this event as speakers or anything like that?
We'd love somebody from the left to be there. Glenn, as you mentioned, the polls show whether you're talking if you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, there's you got about an 80+% chance you support ending civil asset forfeiture. We love it. We're trying to reach out. Recently, I reached out to some of the people in the city council movement.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them are actually supporting our Facebook page. And, that's something we'd love to get an event together with maybe AFP and city council movement, NAACP. I think that's a great idea.
But do you think it would carry any weight if across the state, and here of course we're going to do it, but to get like a statement or something from our city council and our county commission supporting civil asset forfeiture.
Yeah, so that's a great idea. So we have talked about that. This is where we're at. Just to give you guys like a lay of the land politically, in Knox County, we are like the capital of wanting to end civil asset forfeiture reform. East Tennessee Republicans tend to be very good on this issue. We can get the majority of them to support us. The majority of the Democratic Party is supporting us on this issue. Where we run into trouble, though, is Republicans who represent West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee, especially in the rural counties. We are having trouble making inroads into that.
Because their budget comes from stealing from people.
What's that?
It's because their budget comes from stealing from people.
Yeah, I mean, there's one district out west, they get $4.5 million a year from just this. One district out west.
That's probably Jackson.
It's the Judicial District 23. So I don't know if it runs through Jackson or not, but it runs along I-40 out west. So
Yeah.
it might be Jackson. I don't know.
And the thing, guys, and a lot of people don't know this about civil asset forfeiture. They do take your money, but they can go in and anything that could just even be smallly related, they will take. When I got busted, they took my cane and kept it for 4 days as an intimidation act. And they said that was, they took it because they said, well, they said they wanted to look inside it. But civil asset forfeiture goes, it's even farther than just the money and things they take. It's a intimidation on their part. That's one of the reasons they do this.
Yeah, and they do actually keep track of the property they take. So every year they take musical instruments, because, musical instruments and
You might have been home when you played that.
There's actually a story that was done on a hearing that they had where an attorney talked about a child's PlayStations were taken, Game Boys. They actually broke a little kid's piggy bank to get $147. This is all documented, so I mean it's pretty bad. It's sad. The majority of the cases are less than $600, so we're not talking about drug kingpins here. This is everyday people going to pay their rent, or we have a large percentage of Americans who do not have bank accounts. They carry cash. These are people who are potential victims.
Off the top of your head, do you have like an annual amount?
I've got it right here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can.
What is it?
Wait for Josh.
I mean, it's 2018. They seized $15.3 million in cash. Wow. And 2017 they seized $17.7 million in cash. That's not even including the vehicles, firearms, and assets.
Yes. Yeah, that's just cash right there. And the vehicle, you're talking millions of dollars more when you're getting into all the personal property.
Has there been any reaction to the Supreme Court's ruling?
So as far as the fallout goes, with law changes, there really hasn't been much in that avenue. And that's not, I don't think, I mean, we'll see what happens, but, unless they really just put the nail in the coffin, I don't think the courts are going to do much by just, messing around on the edges of this issue. It's either got to be they slam the door on it, or I don't think they're going to do much. We haven't seen anything, happen practically since that case. But, I mean, the good news is in Tennessee, we have chiseled away, we've improved the laws. We have better reporting laws, which is bringing some light on the issue. That's huge. Meaningful bills. In 2016, we literally had 2 co-sponsors. We're now at 40. Around the nation, since 2015, the number of states that require criminal conviction has about tripled. So we're moving in the right direction. In Tennessee, we have some entrenched opposition, but again, this effort right here with this event, this is what we're doing to take it to the next level. And not only will I think it'll be a very fun night, as I mentioned, Glenn Jacobs would be there. We do have a link where you can buy tickets online, and then we have directions where you can mail in a check to, or
The link's broken, I can't get to it.
What's that?
I can't get to it, the link's broken.
Did I text that to you?
No.
He's being sarcastic. He said he can't click on the link on the page.
Oh, okay. No, because actually, was it Josh? Was it you?
Yeah,
who
it wasn't
said
the one
we have had people use the link, and it's worked. So, and then, I don't know, we'll see if...
What would you say has been the number one argument for civil asset forfeiture?
Sure, so the number one argument that is said that if they do not have this tool, they will not be able to effectively fight crime when it comes to drugs.
Well, if they decriminalized weed, then they would have that off of their docket. Then they wouldn't have nothing to worry about.
I mean,
one less.
I don't
won't be able to afford to buy it.
until we can get civil asset forfeiture eliminated. Well, let me say this: if we were to get civil asset forfeiture eliminated, I think we can have a much more honest debate on other criminal justice reforms, because right now what happens is they use this money, there's no legislative oversight, and they can spend it how they want. So you would actually bring the debate back into the people's house by shutting the door on this. So, any other questions about the event or civil asset forfeiture? I mean, hope you guys can make it. I hope the LP,
How much are the tickets?
Sponsor.
So yeah, that's a great question. So there are some sponsorship options, but for the individual tickets, the VIP is $75. It does include a meet and greet with Glenn Jacobs from 6 to 7. Again, the Glenn Jacobs signed Constitution you get with that. All you can eat meal, and then the regular is $50. The general admission, and then again, you're still going to see Glenn Jacobs speak, and that's all you can eat meal there too. And it's helping out a great cause. I mean, Josh has been up there with us, coming to Nashville. Justin, who's not here tonight, some other people. Adrian, I'm sure some people in this room know her. She did a great job this past year. But yeah, help out those people who are going there all day. So, any other questions? All right, well, hopefully everybody can make it. It'll be a fun event. And more importantly, I really feel very positive about the direction that we're going on this issue. It's just, like I said, maybe you can't go to Nashville for a full day, but maybe you can help out another way. And this event is definitely a way that you can help out in a meaningful way. So I appreciate your time, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Erik. Erik Wiatr.
If anyone is interested in that, we are, Josh and I have been discussing about possibly getting a table. Table comes with 10 tickets. So if anybody's interested in that, we just let us know.
There's a discount
70
for
apiece.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a sponsorship.
Okay. So our last speaker will be Yvonne Neubert. She's going to be talking about an initiative.
Well, duh.
For Day on the Hill. Yep, it is. No, I'm going to move you away from the speaker.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's a
stand
good
right here in
idea.
the perfect spot, right there.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
In my world, that's a HIGH. We have been working on cannabis legislation for 6 solid years now, and we have got the small CBD for the babies, and we have hemp. But what a lot of people don't realize is the hemp that we have is low THC cannabis. So the real issue with our legislators and the pigs, law enforcement, cops, those people, that's not nice, but it's the THC that is their issue. And right now it's worked out really well, because we have, with Gloria, when her bill, we get, with her on her bill, she's got the flu right now, so she can't do nothing. We've got some options on what we want to do. And that's what I want to ask all you guys. Somebody be ready, to take a note or something. But we tossed around the idea of going to Nashville on the opening day of the General Assembly. and I've been writing comments on different posts, and I'm really not getting a lot of feedback or a lot of interest generated like that, and that's led me to think, well, maybe we need to have a more, because that day we wouldn't get to see, or we wouldn't, meet our legislators. We were just going to go and be a body and be a crowd and do something that would not easily be ignored. But another option that we do have is to quickly organize a legislative day on the Hill to where we find out who all's going to go and what legislators, who is their house. And like right now, the House is, the first major hurdle. And we could do that. Or we could just meet with our legislators when they come home. And with our state, that's usually on Fridays, or if we can get so lucky as to catch our legislators between, when they close for this year and reopen for next year. Any ideas or suggestions what anybody, which one of those do you think which one would y'all prefer?
We could just stand in front of the door right now. We've got a captive legislator here.
Yvonne, like what I've talked to you about is really just advocacy surrounding the bill. So,
Yeah.
We've talked offline, but when it comes to the state, I think my goal is to have multiple days where we're there advocating for Gloria's bill when we have legislators in-house ready to have conversations.
Yeah, that's what I would like.
The idea that we had about going in there and making a big stink
Well,
might
nobody's
literally and figuratively, right? That might still happen, but it's still up in the air based on.
Well, I haven't gotten any feedback, interest on that, and I've communicated with all of our groups, and
You want me to tell them so they have some context? Because what was going? Do you want me to mention it?
Well, what we thought about doing, and there's nothing that says that as East Tennessee Libertarians we can't do this. We were going to go. The issue now is it hemp or is it weed? And the difference is, like I said, the THC level. And the TBI, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them, but they did say that because of the cost and issues they have with the roadside testing and everything, they can't test for a percentage, that they were not going to test for a half ounce or less. But that's just them saying that. And that's why this decrim bill is so important. But
there was at one point TBI was requesting several $million to
several
build a
million.
testing facility for CBD.
that they could test and find out the actual 0.3%.
Very fiscally conservative of them.
And it's funny, all of these tie in together. Our civil asset forfeiture, the testing for the THC, jury nullification, all three of these in combination they're all three hand in hand. They all three are going to work off each other and play off each other. Because if we get one of these three things settled, the other two are going to be a piece of cake. But the main argument, let me finish about the day, what we was thinking about doing, is you can have flour, you can have CBD flour, and I've got some, and just at first glance and first smell, you can't tell the difference.
No, you can't.
And so what we could possibly do, and we can do this if we even meet with our legislators, is carry some with us, and when we empty our pockets,
In the scanners.
drop it in the tray. If we get enough people in a line to do that, or like me and Amanda talked about, make a pin and wear it on your shirt. Or, do something. And they can't really say anything. And the reason we thought about doing this on the first day of legislative season is because there's going to be a lot of TV there that day. So, and when is it, Josh? Like the January?
What, mid-January? We got Justin here. What's the January 4th?
I think it's the 14th.
14th.
The 14th of January. So, just as an idea right now, how many in this room could come on that day?
I'll be there for sure.
Yep.
Use your voice, she's fine.
I will be there.
That's why I said somebody look and count hands. Speak, boy, speak. But Josh, what have you heard like from your crew down there in Nashville?
I think there will be people doing it. I don't know if the state's going to get behind that just because the testing facility was the main reason we wanted to do that. I don't know if it helps our narrative to have a bunch of libertarians make statewide news putting weed into the scanners. It might make us look. It might build into the negative narrative about libertarians, but I'm not ruling it out at this point. I think it could happen. So it could happen.
Yeah, but those are our options. And with the group that we've got a small group that we're going to. I was going to kick everything off with talking tonight. And we're going to get more active on it, and we're going to make these polls, and we're going to find out in the next week what everyone in Tennessee is in favor of. And we can do that with our legislators too. Take them a package. So there's a lot of ways to get things done. And the simplest, quickest way is to contact your legislator who has not, and let me hear your voice to say I haven't, who has not written a letter, email or a letter to their state senator or their state legislative house.
I send mine a text all the time.
Does calling them or talking to them count, Yvonne, or does it have
Yes,
to be
that
written?
counts too.
Okay, well then we're good.
So who hasn't?
Many of us.
They don't
Okay.
want to.
Because we've done this for many years, and the biggest tonight, Karen Pershing, she's like the head of the drug task force here. I can't never remember what it's called, but she's a no medical, no nothing. And Richard Briggs. Who has Richard Briggs as their state senator? Anybody?
I used to.
Who said Louis?
Yeah.
Amanda?
There's other people too, it's not.
Okay. Richard Briggs is one of our biggest opponents on anything cannabis. And his reasoning is we want to find out what the FDA says. So, my idea, because we've played nice, guarantee you, we have played nice. And you see this porcupine here? See these things on top? They're little pricklies. It's time for us to get a little prickly with our legislators, just quite honestly. Because, and I know the argument is, well, if you do that, you're going to push them away. Hey, they're already away. Like I said, we've been after some of these same people for 6 years. So what we say at this point, it's time to not be so quiet and nice. But my idea is to send Dr. Briggs a message, send your state legislators a message, and also send the latest FDA recall list. Also send a message to your legislators. Say, if you're waiting on the FDA, oh, what about that opioid crisis? Who was it said the opioids were fine? Oh, the FDA. And it's time we start speaking to our legislators like this. Because walking up, playing nice, dressing in a suit and tie, has not done a thing.
Send us videos of compound.
Hey, that's what real people standing up is. That's some standing up people there. And that's what we all need to do. And I think also, as a group, and I think we need to go to our city council and Okay, city councils are not going to do city decrim measures because the state knocked them down. And city councils are kind of like, well, why do this when the state's just going to come back? So, one thing we can do as a body here is to approach our city council and petition them to, what's it called, a resolution that's not going to change the law or anything, but the resolution would state that in Knoxville, cannabis will be low priority for law enforcement. Now what this will do is, if you do get popped and you do have to go to court, you can say, hey, why did you stop? Why did you do this in the first place? Because our city council, in a sense, your bosses, have said this is low priority. And I know these are little things, but that's what we're going to have to do with some of these little things. We had a case in Tennessee that she did not lay down and roll over and take a plea bargain. She said, take me to court. And now we're back to jury nullification. And I think that's something we need to get on all three of these issues with a vengeance. And when you talk to your legislators or when you're writing them or sending them messages, you don't have to use huge words.
They don't understand the words.
They probably don't. But just be straight up with them. And I would recommend contacting them to set up a meeting with them when they are home. And don't wait for them to get back, because they won't. Not the Republicans. Your Democrat legislators will, but we've tried this, and your Republicans will not. So if you call your legislator, either state or your federal legislators, you call them back. If they say, well, he's going to be in and we'll set up an appointment, we'll let you know when. You call them back in 3 days. And that's how you get an appointment with your legislator. You can't wait for them to get back. You've got to do it yourself. Now, federally, we have the MORE Act that passed the House Judicial. And MORE stands for marijuana. The O is for Opportunity, Reinvestment, and Expungement Act. I'm not going to go into all the details. I'm just not good at that. So everybody look that up and read through that. And definitely contact your federal legislator on that. I have not gotten with Burchett yet. Tim Burchett, we went to visit him like three and a half years ago, and he told us, well, handle your discussions as a libertarian. Said, don't talk about the money that cannabis could make, talk about the money cannabis could save. But he's not been playing very nice on some things. So if Tim is your U.S. congressperson, contact him. I'm going to send out on our East Tennessee Libertarian page, I think it would be good if we did, and get a list of who's state rep and who is your federal reps. Because that way, through our cannabis what's it called, Amanda? This small group that we've put together that we're going to deal with cannabis issues. That way, if we ask, then we can put you guys in groups together, and you can go as a group to meet with your legislators. So there's going to be a lot happening in a short period of time, because you can't just boom, boom, throw something like this together, but we're gonna start on it sooner than later in the next week. So do respond. If you see the post or something on East Tennessee Libertarian Party, comment back, let us know, and we're gonna keep track and get everybody, and that way we can get y'all in groups. And that'll be important to go as groups. And I think it would be a good thing to set up at the first of the year, like I said, going to our city council. That's something that all of us, well, that's a good starting place, is the Knoxville City Council. I'm not saying we're going to limit it to that, but I think going to the Knoxville City Council would be a good starting place on saying, yes, we do oppose civil asset forfeiture, and yes, we do want cannabis to be our law enforcement's lowest priority. So with all of that,
Yvonne, do you know how many, did you guys get a lot of new city councilors? Was it a whole new docket?
well, Amelia, and I think a lot of them were more.
Testament to.
David didn't know.
So everyone that ran this time is brand new because everybody
Yes.
else had reached their
Ah,
term.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So we've got a brand new body to work with, and I know several of them will be on board with us. Now, whether or not they're gonna stand up in front of their peers on the city council and say that is a whole other thing. And that's something you learn. So, they might tell you something individually when it comes time. But I will research in the next couple of weeks what it takes to get on their docket to be a speaker. And, how many, show of hands so somebody can count, how many of you are with Knoxville City and then Knox County? We'll do Knoxville City first. City.
We got like 5, Yvonne?
Okay.
6?
What about Knox County?
We got 2, 3.
Okay. So that's something that I think we need to get on and be prepared for by January. And we can get on that on our group. Me and Amanda and Chris Silver's on the group. And who else is on it, Amanda? Do you remember?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Melody?
Tracy?
Tracy? But I think between all of us on this group, we're going to be able to make some waves and, get some things done. Either, do our stunt, and that's what it's called. I mean, when you hear the word stunt, it's not necessarily a bad term. But our stunt, with the hemp flowers. But I'm not as prepared as I wanted to be on all this. It's been a bad week, but
Yvonne, do you know, last question I guess, do you know if Safe Access is doing anything for decrim? I have not talked to David yet.
Safe Access does not like the MORE Act really, because they said there's nothing in it really for patients.
Well, but at the state level.
At the state level, they're not going to get involved.
That seems stupid.
They're not going to oppose.
His goal is not actually to get anything passed.
You're right.
I haven't talked to David, but I plan to call him.
Okay, I'm going to be candid here. I'm not a fan.
You're on live internet.
I don't care. I'm not a fan of Safe Access Tennessee. I like the people personally that I know that have been involved with it. I've been involved with it. Amanda, I think you have too.
A little bit.
But they lost my support last year when at the meetings they came in with Republican candidate campaign signs. And to me, that's not acceptable. It's not an acceptable thing to do. And to only post things that are on their Facebook that are from the Republicans. Well, this Republican and this Republican may be on board, and gotta have faith, and look, we had 6 years of faith, and it ain't got us crap.
So, I guess last question, because aside from safe access, who's running point for Tennessee state marijuana reform? Because I mean, I've tried to reach out to Normal, and
You know, I got a call today from a guy who's wanting to know what's going on, and we don't even have an East Tennessee Normal, but they just will not take me off of their website, and I don't care, that's fine. But I'm directing anybody that calls me, I'm directing to the Libertarian Party and the Green Party.
so
So
there
I guess
is
it's
no,
us.
so there is no Tennessee-wide, statewide, like state point person for cannabis reform, because the only two
No.
organizations I know of are Normal and Safe Access.
We've got Normal, we've got Safe Access, we've got, all of them are grassroots, well, Normal's not, but
So we
Green,
are Normal?
Cross Tennessee, the Patient Squad, but no actual real
Wow.
point person. We've got all of these Facebook groups, we've got all these Facebook pages, and Normal, I mean, they're not even having monthly meetings anymore, which is sad.
Right.
We've tried having something up here with Normal and trying to revitalize the East Tennessee Normal, but I'm not going to lead that. Now, but no, there is no point person. I'm in touch with Gloria on her decrim bill, and then you've got Safe Access, who's on the whatever political cannabis bill the Republicans come up with.
So it's up to us to be the.
It's up to us to be on point for this. I think between me and Amanda, and I keep saying Amanda, but because she is on our group, and we're going to be such good hellraisers together. And that's something else we're going to do between hopefully now and the 1st of February is to have like a small fundraiser to facilitate some of these things that we're wanting to do, like to have a day on the hill. Now, I had a thought. Piggyback. We could piggyback on Disability Day on the Hill. It's not something that has been talked about and done before, and a lot of people think that might not be a good idea because, well, they've got their things. But if you look at it, I bet you money that most of the people who are cannabis users have some sort of disability or other. I mean, look at me. So I don't think that it would be wrong or a bad thing for us to go and piggyback on Disability Day on the Hill. It's already an established time. Good thing is, if we can get literature, there's going to be all kind of people there. There's going to be all kind of people with disabilities there. And I'm hooked up with disability groups, so, that's something else that we can actually look at doing. Piggybacking is an easy way. Now, who in February wants to have a cannabis rally here?
Me,
Who doesn't?
Amanda.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
What's a cannabis rally?
A cannabis rally,
Is it cannabis rally?
it usually does with like sign waving, but it's the middle of winter.
Sign waving with edible.
Yeah, but I was thinking of having I was thinking about, because this place, this room here, it's a good room. It would hold a good number of people to have in February or March just a cannabis. What did I call it, Josh? Casual cannabis conversation, and have the guy for civil asset forfeiture come and speak at it, and not have it as, a political party meeting. So, and I know I can count on all y'all to come.
Yeah, I think you get more people to come
And I think we could get more, and this too, guys, one job of a political party is recruitment. And we need to get our numbers built back up again here. And I think that might be a good vehicle for that. I'm done. Here, now where's my food?
We'll take around 3 chairs.
Not that one. Next chair.
Oh, my food.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I've been talking to Alex about this for a while. I've yet to bring it up. I figured we'd bring it up now since this will be the last formal meeting of the year. I plan on having a Christmas party in December. Time and place to be determined. Is there a day of the week that works better for everybody than Thursday for meetings?
If there is, they wouldn't be here to tell you that.
That's a good point.
I'm polling the people here, man. Thank you.
Say Tuesdays or Thursdays.
Tuesdays.
I don't live here.
Tuesdays work for people? Tuesdays?
Just for a one-time thing or for our meeting?
It'd be for our meetings.
Do a poll on the page.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
You know, KISS.
And I
Keep
think
it
Lafferty
simple.
just volunteered his house with the Christmas party.
Awesome.
Who did?
I hope you like debauchery.
Who
That's
volunteered?
like what's debauchery. This is on the record.
Who volunteered their house?
Lafferty.
You
The
know,
state rep Justin Lafferty.
Oh, hey, I didn't know you were here.
But yeah, okay. I'll put a poll on the Facebook page. We'll keep a lookout for that. And that concludes this.
Wait, I got a question for Justin.
oh well, do it offline.